fleet. Chris Reason joins me. Aviation authorities are now investigating this.
Good afternoon, Sally. Look, the Civil Aviation Authority says it will add this issue to the existing investigation it already had underway into a 17-page complaint against Rex. But, Sally, this afternoon airline bosses have come out swinging, saying these claims are utterly untrue. Now, it's the Daily Telegraph newspaper that today published video. It says it has from a Rex airline engineer, which he claims showed rust on a Saab engine propeller shaft for a plane with the registration number VHRXN. But airline management, as I say, are furious, saying the plane has been examined and the alleged rust marks were wiped off with a simple solvent. Now, they say this is the work of a disgruntled engineer and that he and the union are weaponising safety issues in a campaign against the airline.
Rex has been audited so extensively by the Civil Aviation Safety Authority, almost on a non-stop basis over the last 15 or 16 months. It's completely and utterly incorrect.
Now, the trigger that John Sharp was referring to there was, of course, the nightmare incidents back in March 2017 when a Rex propeller was lost over suburban Sydney. Fortunately, no injuries recorded there. But since then, they've been audited 5 times. Now, CASA is saying that they have officers at the airline's Wagga base today carrying out further investigations. Sally?
Okay, thank you very much. Chris Reason reporting there. Australians on low and middle incomes will receive an extra $1,080 when they lodge their tax return this year after the government's tax cut package passed the Parliament last night. The Prime Minister says it's a win for all workers and is set to boost the economy. El Giorgio explains from Canberra.
Good afternoon. The Morrison government managed to secure the 4 crossbench votes it needed to pass its tax cut package in full last night. The fate of this bill rested with Jackie Lambie, Cory Bernardi and 2 Centre Alliance senators, their support ultimately pushing the package over the line. The coalition says it's not just a victory for the new government, but a win for all aspirational, hard-working Australians.
Australians can plan for their future with confidence. They know the harder they work, they will not face those higher rates of tax.
It means that money will begin flowing into the pockets of millions of Australians as early as next week. People earning up to $37,000 a year will see up to $255 hit their bank accounts. Those who earn up to $48,000 a year will receive a tax bonus up to $1,080 this financial year. It also favours those in the next tax bracket as well. If you earn up to $90,000, you'll receive the full tax relief.
The Australian people have got the tax cuts that they voted for.
Labor had strongly opposed stage 3 of the tax cut package, putting forward amendments to the bill, but in the end, it voted in favour of it.
What we said the whole way through was we supported stage 1. Guess what? That's the only thing that's happening this term.
The final stage of these tax cuts, which will benefit wealthier Australians making up to $200,000 a year, isn't due to start until 2024. Labor has flagged it could revoke its support of stage 3, depending on how the economy is looking in 5 years' time.
Australian student Alex Sigley has asked for privacy after safely arriving in Japan and reuniting with his wife following his release from detention in North Korea yesterday. The 29-year-old has thanked the public for their support. In a statement, he wrote, "I just want everyone to know I'm okay and thank them for their concern for my well-being and their support for my family over the past week." He says, "I now intend to return to normal life, but wanted to first publicly thank everyone who worked to ensure I was safe and well." Former President of the New South Wales RSL, Don Rowe, has faced court for the first time since being charged with fraud. He's accused of misusing his corporate credit card to cover personal expenses. Brian Seymour was there.
The former president of the New South Wales RSL was seeking to have his fraud charges dealt with under the Mental Health Act, claiming PTSD stretching back to his experience in the Vietnam War. The court heard Don Rowe has post-traumatic stress disorder, depression and alcohol dependence.
I accept the court's decision, but it's certainly, I think, it's disappointing in one way that, it's not an easy task living with PSD, as many of our veterans have found out.
The 71-year-old was charged in 2017 with fraudulently using his RSL president's credit card to pay for his family's telephone bills, more than $9,000 worth, and $363 for accommodation for his daughter. Don Rowe was president in New South Wales from 2003 to 2014. He resigned then and claimed at the time it was due to medical reasons, but later admitted he was given an ultimatum to leave or have a forensic audit done on his finances. An inquiry in 2017 by the Independent Commission Against Corruption found Mr Rowe was likely guilty of corruption and referred him for these charges. That led to the RSL in New South Wales suspending fundraising, and earlier this year, finally, they began raising money again in local communities.
Still getting treatment,
I am. I'm still getting treatment. We'll continue to do for some time. Yes, thank you.
Magistrate Barco dismissed Mr Rowe's application to have this dealt with under the Mental Health Act, which means his matter will progress through the criminal system and is due back in court here in August.
A powerful earthquake has rattled Southern California, the biggest to hit the region in 20 years. The 6.4 magnitude quake damaged buildings, downed power lines and sparked fires. Aftershocks are continuing to be felt near the epicentre.
The quake struck at 10:30 in the morning, triggering this suburban inferno.
Due to an earthquake, pull all units out from your station.
Firefighters scrambled after an earthquake kicked off America's 4th of July with a bang. The epicenter was in Ridgecrest in the Mojave Desert.
We have multiple commercial fire alarms.
The quake so powerful it split and buckled roads, shifting tons of asphalt.
All the knickknacks and things from the cabinets were flying out like missiles.
Aisle after aisle in grocery stores, merchandise shattered and worthless. Much of the drama captured on security camera, the quake turning swimming pools into wave pools. Inside local restaurants, a scramble for the exits. The magnitude 6.4 quake rattled the region, jolting the earth as far away as Las Vegas, Arizona, even reaching parts of San Diego. 20 million people in the earthquake zone.
What the heck?
It made light work of homes in Los Angeles 250 kilometres from the epicenter. While damage was limited, it was the strongest earthquake to hit Southern California in more than 20 years.
Is the earthquake in the chandelier is moving?
It was more of a back and forth rolling, which it was a good shaker.
I was ready to stay with myself because I didn't want that in the room for a TV or something following myself.
Patrick Burns, 7 News.
Well, number one, Ash Barty is through to the third round of Wimbledon with a defiant straight sets win over her Belgian competitor. But it was the end of the road for fellow Aussie Nick Kyrgios after a fiery encounter with Rafael Nadal. Sarah Gonotch has the latest on last night's action-packed games.
Proving why she's the world's best.
Beautiful way to finish it from Ash Barty.
Ash Barty wasted no time beating her Belgian opponent 6-1, 6-3 in just 55 minutes.
But she'd be well pleased with how well she struck the ball today, the number one seed.
She now faces Britain's Harriet Dart in round 3, a match likely to be played on centre court.
Yeah, I mean, if I got to play on the court, it'd be incredible. It really was. It's one of the most beautiful courts in the world, but I'll play wherever I'm scheduled. There's not a bad court here at Wimbledon.
On centre court, the grudge match between Nick Kyrgios and Rafael Nadal didn't disappoint. In an entertaining encounter, Kyrgios showed brilliance and also aggression. The Spaniard seemed to be waiting for an apology that didn't come before claiming the match in a fourth set tiebreaker.
It's Nadal. Do you regret not apologising for hitting him with the ball in the third set?
Why would I apologise?
Did you aim it straight at him?
Yeah, I actually was going for him. I wanted to hit him square in the chest. Like he's got decent hands.
Fellow Aussie John Millman survives, dominating in straight sets, while Alex de Minaur lost his 5-set battle crushed after putting up an almost 3.5-hour fight.
You see to finish.
Bernard Tomic walks away from Wimbledon with nothing, stripped of his $80,000 first-round paycheck for failing to meet the required professional standards. While on court 1, tennis royalty was cheered on by actual royalty. The Duchess of Sussex making a surprise Day 4 appearance, cheering on dear friend Serena Williams. At that post-match press conference, Nick Kyrgios admitted that he doesn't have what it takes to be a Grand Slam champion. He will never be like Roger Federer or Rafael Nadal because he doesn't want to do the training or put in the effort. It is a real shame considering how much high-quality tennis was played today. Nick Kyrgios recorded the fastest serve so far of this tournament, 230 kilometres an hour, and that was on a second serve.
Angie Asmus joins us now with a look at the forecast. Hello to you, Angie. It's been a bit of a grey day across Sydney.
So good afternoon. Yes, a fair bit of cloud cover about today with continued showers as well. Right now it is 17 degrees in the city. Humidity is still quite high at 68%. If we pick up the radar, you'll see the heaviest rainfall totals were actually overnight. Belrose in Sydney's north picked up 37 millimetres. Medlow Bath in the Blue Mountains recorded 32. Lucas Heights had 30. Wahroonga 28, 26 for North Ryde, and Decent Falls in the city to 23 millimetres. Across the state, temperatures have been fairly mild under the clouds. We've reached a top of 16 in Canberra, 18 at Griffith and 19 for Newcastle. The reason for the wet weather is onshore winds continuing to push onto the coast. That is unlikely to change anytime soon. What that means for the weekend, a little later, Sal.
Okay, thanks for that, Ange. Still to come in Sydney's afternoon news on 7. Tensions boil over as Donald Trump salutes America's spirit on 4th of July. And Prince William visits a cancer hospital close to his mother's heart.
Half a year in the making. Now the makeover house exterior all comes together.
It's time to get this area decked out.
From this to this.
Plenty of take-home tips that you can use at home.
It's all revealed with the final garden makeover. New Better Homes. Tonight at 7 on 7.
New Nivea Q10 Power contains 10 times more creatine to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, with SPF 30 protection against aging from the sun. Make the most of today and tomorrow with new Q10 Power, our most powerful Q10 ever, from Nivea.
Created to make a moment last. Designed to excite in an instant. This is our next generation. A drive you need to feel to believe. In sedan, next gen Mazda 3. Driving is believing.
Oldcastle Homes have been building quality, affordable new homes for over 25 years. Build a double-storey, 4-bedroom home with garage starting at $199,950 on your land. Includes standard site costs and basics. Make it home with Oldcastle Homes.
Saving can be hard while you're paying rent. At RAMS, we can consider your rental history as proof of savings to help you get into your own home sooner. RAMS, created together.
Everyone loves the taste of Flora, but did you know Flora is made with sunflower and canola, has less than half the saturated fat of butter, and contains no artificial flavours or colours? Make the right choice for your family. Flora, great taste from the goodness of plants.
Your dishwasher never gets a break, so grease may build up inside it. Next time, add New Finish In-Wash Dishwasher Cleaner, the only one that helps clean your dishwasher while it cleans your dishes. Try New Finish In-Wash Dishwasher Cleaner.
When frequent heartburn can wake me up at night, enough was enough. So I tried Nexium 24-hour.
Unlike antacids that often require multiple doses per day, Nexium 24-hour is better. Just one tablet a day can provide 24-hour protection. Live life less interrupted.
Warm up at Woolworths with 400 to 420 gram Uncle Toby's Oats quick sachets. Now just $3 each. That's half price.
That's why I picked boys.
I had a substantial debt and it was costing me a fortune. I had heard about HomeSafe, that I could access equity in the property to pay off that loan without going into further debt. HomeSafe are very easy to deal with. The consultant that came to me saw I was in a dilemma and he was interested in helping me. The contract, which is all very straightforward and easy to read, I know exactly where I am financially.
HomeSafe, the unique alternative to a reverse mortgage for over 60s.
You're watching 4 p.m. Sydney News, and this is the very foggy view from Katoomba right now. Currently, it is a chilly 9 degrees. US President Donald Trump has saluted America's spirit during his controversial 4th of July celebrations. But the event took a fiery turn when protesters began torching a flag outside the White House. Miley Hogan reports from Washington, D.C.
Donald Trump has been the centre of attention of 4th of July celebrations here in Washington, D.C., and protests have erupted over his heavy involvement. Violent clashes broke out near the White House between pro- and anti-Trump supporters, one activist even lighting the American flag on fire. The Secret Service extinguished the flames and detained several people. In the lead up to the event, Trump was heavily criticised for adding a military element to the holiday. The event, called a Salute to America, showed off America's military might with tanks and a flyover. President Trump also chose to give an address, a move rarely done by a sitting president.
Today we come together as one nation with this very special salute to America. We celebrate our history, our people, and the heroes who proudly defend our flag.
The president spent his time on stage talking about each branch of the military, outlining their history and achievements.
And it is our incredible airmen today who wield the most powerful weapon systems on the planet Earth. For over 65 years, no enemy air force has managed to kill a single American soldier, because the skies belong to the United States of America.
Trump's opponents say he has politicised what should be a non-partisan holiday, turning a celebration of America's independence into a pro-Trump rally.
A homeless man in the US is fighting for life after being shot in the head by police in Atlanta. Dramatic body cam video shows the confrontation between officers and the unarmed man, who was found sleeping in the back of his car. The man can be seen climbing into the front seat before taking off. He's eventually cornered and ordered to turn off the car when suddenly an officer opens fire. The officer maintains the shooting was justified as he feared the man would use his car as a weapon. An investigation is underway. Firefighters have been treated to an unintentional light show while tackling a blaze at a fireworks factory in South Carolina. The early morning blaze saw colourful explosions and thick smoke fill the sky. It took crews almost an hour to extinguish the flames. No one was injured. Prince William has followed in his mother's footsteps, visiting a cancer hospital that was close to her heart. The Duke chatted with patients and staff at the Royal Marsden Hospital. He heard about the effects of cancer on both patients and their families and even staff.
Are you on this one?
No, I'm downstairs.
What are you doing? Stuck up here, Joyce. Stuck up here. Are you on a
Free hugs. The Prince became the president of the hospital's trust in 2017, a position once held by Princess Diana. Still ahead on 7's afternoon news, get ready to skate and slide as the Winter Light Festival returns to Parramatta. And in sport, injury drama rocks Australia's World Cup defence.
Tonight on 7 News with Michael Usher.
Actor John Jarrett found not guilty of rape. How police smashed a $400 million ice smuggling ring. And student Alex Sigley breaks his silence after being freed from North Korea.
Tonight on 7 News at 6.
The teen sensation. Can she take Wimbledon by storm? And the doubles match of champions. Wimbledon, live and free tonight.
New Nivea Black and White Silky Smooth Deodorant with skin conditioners. Remove hair and immediately apply without irritation for silky smooth underarms. Care for your clothes and your skin. New Black and White Silky Smooth Deodorant from Nivea.
Dad, what's over your arm?
This. It's my bit reminder so I don't forget about Aldi's special buys.
Is that your elbow?
Don't touch it.
Try yourself an epic reminder for this Saturday and get an adult's down jacket for $49.99, merino thermal underwear for $29.99, and hiking shoes for $29.99. Only at Aldi. Good. Different.
The Maya Winter Stock takes sailors on now. Get winter ready with 30% off women's knits, coats, jackets and sweats, and 30% off the original price of men's casual jackets, knits and sweats. Shop in store online.
When your throat is swollen or painful, standard lozenges may not be enough. New Strepsils Extra.
Its advanced formula goes beyond our standard lozenges and numbs pain fast. New Strepsils Extra for an extra sore throat.
At Giant Stadium this Sunday. We're for trusted news, sport and people for only $1 a day for the first 12 weeks. That's 7 days of paper delivery plus full digital access for just $1 a day. Call 1-800-323-777. The Daily Telegraph. We're for you.
Parenting's not easy. Some days you gotta show some tough love. Other days, gentle love. Tough love. Gentle love. But when it comes to fever, you need to be both. Children's Panadol can start to reduce fever in just 15 minutes, and it's gentle on the tummy. Just love. Children's Panadol, tough on fever, gentle on little tummies.
I was a dancer all my life, but then when I did retire, I didn't have any super. To be on the pension, it was an enormous struggle. And it got to a point where I thought my house was going to be repossessed. It really worried me. When I found HomeSave, I realised that I could use the equity in my home to pay off my loan. It just cleared all that stress and that worry.
HomeSave, a unique alternative to a reverse mortgage for over 60s.
Families are being encouraged to embrace the frosty temperatures these school holidays and make a visit to the Winterlight Festival in Parramatta. It kicks off tonight with plenty of action for young and old. Jessica Ridley was given a sneak peek.
Well, we are testing out Sydney's largest open-air ice rink. I've got a little bit of help here because I actually have not been skating since year 5. But if I can do it, anyone can do it. And I'm sure this is going to be a massive hit at the Winterlight Festival. Back in Parramatta for the 9th year. There's plenty of other highlights, like a 30-metre slide, which has been made completely of ice. There's rides like the Ferris wheel, go-karts, and lots of live entertainment too.
This is going to be bigger and better than it's been before. It's a real winter wonderland. It's like its own little town. The light makes it look like you've got a roof over your head, even though you're open to the sky. It's really beautiful.
There's plenty of local eateries putting on food as well, so come with an empty stomach. How much meat are we talking?
We're talking 2 tons of brisket over the next two weeks. These guys are just about done and they're ready for dinner tonight.
We have 10 family passes to the 7 News ice rink up for grabs. Just head to the 7news.com.au website for details. It all kicks off tonight and runs right through the school holidays.
You're watching 7's Afternoon News live across Sydney. Still to come, the new landmark study looking at the health habits of Aussie kids. Why the role parents play is so important in preventing future diseases. We'll have all the details on the shock findings a little later in the Bulletin. Sport now with Matty Palmer. Hello to you, Matt. Now the Origin Decider is getting close.
Yeah, a few days left. It's almost a sellout, so you better get your tickets. Good afternoon, everyone. New South Wales are confident they can lift the Origin Shield in front of their home fans on Wednesday night. The Blues trained at a wet Coogee Oval this morning ahead of the Decider as they aim for just their 3rd series win in the past decade and first back-to-back victories since 2004 and 5.
It's going to be a massive occasion. There's going to be 80,000 people there. A lot cheering for us. So hopefully we can take a lot of that energy and turn it into a win.
David Clemmer trained freely, showing no signs of his broken hand as he pushes for a starting spot. Michael Morgan has been passed fit for Queensland. He completed a final concussion test following Tarek Sim's late hit last Friday night. Morgan was named at centre, but there's speculation he'll drop back to the bench.
I'm in a privileged position to be in this team, so whatever job Kevy wants me to do, I'm happy to do my best at it.
The Maroons are holding an opposed training session this afternoon. Queensland coach Kevin Walters left camp to present his son Billy with his first NRL jersey last night. Without 10 Origin reps from either side, the Storm beat the Dragons 16-14 and they're 4 wins clear on the ladder. Cameron Smith reached 2,500 points and next weekend he becomes the first to play 400 NRL games. Shaun Marsh is out of the Cricket World Cup after a brutal and dramatic Aussie net session. Marsh has been replaced by Peter Hanscom and requires surgery after a Pat Cummins thunderbolt broke his arm. Glenn Maxwell was also struck, but X-rays cleared him of serious injury.
It's unfortunate today that a couple of boys got hit, but we always say you train hard, you play easy.
Steve Smith also hurt a finger in a fielding session, but is okay for tomorrow night's final round robin game against South Africa. Australia took control of the women's Ashes with victory in the second one-dayer. Delissa Cummins took 5 for 26 to restrict the host to 217 after losing 2 early wickets. Elise Perry top scored with 62 and a record 7th wicket stand from Beth Mooney and Jess Jonathan sealed victory.
Yeah, a great opportunity for me to go out there and to be able to take 5 wickets today and do my job for the team. I walk away pretty happy with that.
Australia have a 4-point lead in the multi-format series. Ash Barty and John Millman are the last Aussies standing at Wimbledon. As we reported earlier, our world number 1 is into the third round where Barty will face Brit Harriet Dart. But Nick Kyrgios lost an entertaining and volatile 3-hour battle with Rafael Nadal in 4 sets.
You were going to go to the pub last night. Do you think you could have played a bit better if you hadn't?
No. You look way too excited to ask that question. You must have a really boring life.
Millman has matched his best Wimbledon result and will face American Sam Querrey in the third round. Our live and free coverage continues tonight from 8 p.m. on 7.2, then from 11.15 here on 7, featuring 15-year-old star Coco Gauff and the great Novak Djokovic. It might get a bit awkward down at the pub the journos go to if Nick Kyrgios turns there again, the way he's treated them in those pressers, Sally.
Certainly very firing. Okay, thank you for that. Cheers. That's one way of putting it. Thank you, Matt. This afternoon's top stories are next, including not guilty. John Jarrett cleared of raping his former housemate. Also, an aged care worker speaks exclusively to 7 News after being accused of abusing a patient. And a pub patron hailed a hero after fighting off an armed robber. That's next.
My father, I think he's been shot. Said she has to visit. It's my fiance.
Heartbroken lover or heartless killer. She was quite a temptress. She was a witch. Australia's real Black Widows. The femme fatales, bewitching the men caught in their web.
Have sex with anybody, then kill them after that.
You'll see how they almost got away with it. The gripping Sunday night investigation.
New Nivea Q10 Power contains 10 times more creatine to reduce fine lines and wrinkles. With SPF 30 protection against aging from the sun. Make the most of today and tomorrow with new Q10 Power, our most powerful Q10 ever. From Nivea.
What if you could prevent water becoming water damage? Sally's Storm Sealant gives you an immediate waterproof seal on any material, wet or dry, even in the rain. If it's Sally's, it works.
Wash labels are confusing, but by ignoring them, you can damage your clothes. With Vanish, you can forget them. Simply dial down to 30 degrees and add 1 scoop of Vanish Oxy Action. Powerful stain removal, even in cold wash. Stain gone. It even works in much colder water. Stains vanished. Forget about confusing wash labels. Just dial down to 30 degrees with Vanish Oxy Action. Trust me, forget stains. Guys, come on.
It looks purple, the prettiest purple in the world.
That's more like it. Nice one. Is that cold?
We're early morning people. The cafe. We're coffee people. When you're worried about getting sick, you could Google it. Or to help support your immune system, use Difflam First Signs Defense Probiotic. And when you need rapid, targeted relief from 60 seconds, you could Google it. Or use Difflam Fort Sore Throat Spray. And for when the pain of a sore throat is so bad you need fast, numbing relief, use Difflam Plus Anesthetic Lozenges. Or you could Google it. Searching won't sort it. Difflam. Sore throat sorted. This is 7 Sydney Afternoon News with Sally Lowry.
Welcome back to our Martin Place headquarters. These are our top stories on 7. Actor John Jarrett has been out celebrating with his family after being found not guilty of raping a former housemate more than 40 years ago. Police swoop on a drug trafficking ring, arresting 4 men and seizing 500 kilograms of ice. The teenager pleads guilty after leading police on a wild chase through Western Sydney. And Ash Barty blitzes her way into the next round of Wimbledon as Nick Kyrgios suffers a crushing defeat. Returning to our top story again, an actor John Jarrett has been found not guilty of raping his housemate more than 40 years ago. It didn't take long for the jury to reach a verdict. Alex Hart was in court.
There would be no horror ending for Wolf Creek star in his real-life courtroom drama. John Jarrett emerging today triumphant, flanked by his wife and surrounded by his family and legal team after being found not guilty.
An aged care worker claims she's been falsely falsely accused of abusing a dementia patient in Sydney. Anita Kotapati is facing allegations she slapped the woman and stuffed a wet wipe in her mouth. Evan Batten has spoken exclusively with the nurse earlier today.
This is a serious accusation against an aged care worker accused of assaulting one of her patients. The defence, though, claims it's all about bad blood between co-workers, one of them with a real axe to grind. Not so, say police. They allege 31-year-old aged care nurse Anita Prajapita lost her temper with one of her patients suffering dementia and assaulted her at their Narrabeen aged care place last November. Although after the hearing today at the local court at Manly, Anita spoke exclusively with 7 News, and here's part of what she had to say.
Someone is doing false allegation on me, and I'm the one who's suffering.
That specific complaint to police that Anita slapped her patient in the mouth and shoved a wet wipe into her mouth after the patient had started screaming with distress. The defence maintains the real motivation was in fact revenge for an argument the parent had a week earlier where Anita had reprimanded her co-worker and, quote, made her look like an idiot. It's now up to a magistrate to decide if Anita Prajapita is guilty or not guilty of this charge of assault. She'll hand down her decision next month.
A pub patron has been praised for his brave actions after he used a bar stool to foil an armed hold-up on the Gold Coast this morning. He was walking by when a machete-wielding thief was demanding cash from a female staffer. He quickly intervened, picking up a bar stool and hitting the thief on the head. The thief was then chased out of the hotel and crash-tackled, resulting in him dropping the $1,500 in stolen takings. The would-be robber remains on the run. Police in Melbourne have busted a network of fake beggars. 7 people are being charged, accused of being part of a professional syndicate trying to nab Australians of their money and sending it back to China. It's alleged the group was flown into the country on tourist visas. Those charged claim to be homeless, but in fact had access to shared housing in the CBD. Holidaymakers heading to the Gold Coast are facing wild surf conditions. Beaches remain closed as a huge swell batters the shoreline, causing widespread erosion. Waves are forecast to reach around 4 metres tomorrow. There's also a strong wind warning in place, and another king tide is expected tonight. Conditions not expected to ease until Sunday. Children are apparently taking after their parents in ways that won't make mum and dad proud. Researchers have found that children are inheriting some of their parents' medical conditions by the time they've turned 11 years old. Estelle Greenpink has more.
Good afternoon. Well, this research looked at how a child's first decade can influence their lifelong health, and also examined the link between a child's health and the health of their parents.
We took a testing centre, trucks, heavy equipment, a whole laboratory right around Australia. It was an amazing project to be part of. We measured just about everything that we could, and we can really start to delve down into that molecular underpinnings of health and wellbeing in a way that's never been done before.
The study also found 11 and 12-year-olds spend an average of 11 hours a day sitting still. While they usually get enough hours of sleep, they aren't always